Uh, Welcome to Eight Questions with. I'm your host, Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View. Um, as you can see by the title of this interview, it is not Stephen Foster today. Unfortunately, Stephen had a prior commitment that he had to take care of, and so we will reschedule Stephen for April. Um, so we'll try to get him back on. Really, sorry about that. I was really looking forward to talking to him with tonight, but thanks to Stephen, um, he was able to help me line up our guest for tonight, which is actor writer Lorenzo Leonard. Hey Cal, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you. I just saw that I saw you have an unboxing. I'm gonna have to go check that out. Um, uh, uh, Rugrats, good show. A lot more adult than people realize. Uh, I guess there's some pretty poignant moments on that show. Um, so our guest today is Lorenzo Leonard. He's based in Los Angeles, and he'll be here shortly. That happens in the world of live podcasting. Sometimes that happens more often than not that something comes up, especially when you're dealing with actors and directors. Um, if you've been to a convention, you know what I know. You know what I'm saying. You expect to see them, and then life gets in the way. There are professional performers, so the career comes first. So, um, and in fact, we lost our guest for next Wednesday as well, Eugene Page, because that's the same thing that happened to him. His agent told him that he is going to probably going out to Los Angeles to audition for a job out there, a very high profile job. So he has to be available to when they want him to fly out. It's not a scheduled, there's no set schedule. A lot of times it's like, hey, you get there to there, and in this amount of time, and they generally have to drop everything and run. Yeah, man, that's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to that, Cal, for sure. Yeah, I never really watched Rugrats at all. The only thing I've ever seen from Rugrats is just like different uh, uh, different people comedy that it was a lot more serious than a lot on a lot of roles. There's some pretty adult spots on that show. So yeah, I definitely will check it out and share it out as well. So Lorenzo has done a few things in Los Angeles. I also found out from him that he is a big Star Trek fan and a big Rocky fan. So we will be talking to Lorenzo about that. That will be a lot of fun. Good morning, Mark. How are you, sir? Always glad to see you. Always glad to see you. Um, so next Wednesday, I don't know exactly who we're gonna have on for that. So that I can't tell you. I can tell you though who we're having tomorrow. Though we are going to be having tomorrow. We are having um, uh, 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 Eileen Isley will be here. She will be here, and yeah, that'll be a fun show. I got to go ahead and get ready for that one tomorrow, and that will close out. And then Leo Oliver will be here on the 29th at 8 o'clock. So we are ending up January with a bang. Um, February is looking pretty decent as well. Yeah. It was a very cold day here today. It was 14 degrees today. That's all it was. 14 degrees. Not very warm. In fact, right now it is 12 degrees and clear, which means it's even colder than what it is. It's 12, but probably feels more like zero. So this is like a killing cold. You got to have shelter. You can't stay out in weather like this. This happens to us here in Detroit, in the Detroit metro area. It generally happens like we have days like this about 5 to 10 days every winter season where it gets so cold that the city will actually put out trucks and vans and go around and collecting the homeless people and taking them to warming shelters, whether they like it or not, because nobody wants to go out there and see a frozen person on the ground. No, it wasn't 68 here today. Nope, it was I think the lowest it got here was 9. It was like 9 degrees. Now it's back up to 12. Well, actually it was 13. Now it's down to 12. So um I think like I said, the high was 14. So it's starting to drop now. I don't know how cold the low is supposed to be. Ah, see. Yeah, in Arizona, 68. Yeah, I'm sure Florida was pretty warm and Texas was pretty warm as well. Yeah. Uh, so I'm working on Women in Horror Month for March. Working hard at that. I had a good day. It's been a little bit tougher than I expected to book that month. I guess a lot of feelers out, a lot of invites out, and I'm starting to hear back from some folks, which really is really making me happy because it's harder. It's getting a little bit harder to get some folks. And I actually thought that would actually be reversed with the fact that the channel's growing a little tiny bit. Though I don't think I will be holding at 516. I think I'll probably lose I think I'm probably gonna lose 4 or 5 of these numbers right here. I don't know who is I don't know who subbed to me. That's the problem with people when they have private accounts. Um, I don't know who does it. So I can't respond. And then generally that's when YouTube comes by and disconnects them. I have no way of knowing who did it. So that sort of sucks. At least you could do is at least tell the person who subbed, so you could at least go to their channel and try to retain the number, but or the subscription sub. But unfortunately, hey Casey, how are you, sir? Welcome, welcome. Our guest is Lorenzo Leonard, and he will be here shortly. Mm, excuse me. Ouch. Okay, that's the other part about dry wintertime here in Michigan. Your skin dries out terribly. Um, your skin dries out terribly, so you end up looking with this winter thumb. Your skin dries out. I know, not attractive, but that's what happens. It's really interesting. And it doesn't matter if you drink water or not. It's not like you're dehydrated or anything, but yeah, that's what happens. Your skin gets split. What's going on, Rick? Let me make sure that's really Rick though, because it might not. It could be a fake. Let me see. He's got the cheetah down part right. Yep, that's him. I can tell. I feel sort of sluggish today. I don't know why. I feel really sluggish. Um. Oh, you're okay. You had puppies last time too. So is this your second dog that had puppies? 13. Gee willikers. Now, are you do you breed dogs as well, Mark? Yes, there are imposters for Rick. So we have a password. I have to make sure it's really Rick, and that's the password. You know, Mark, Rick also he does puppies as well. Yeah, he breeds Spud McKenzie's bull terriers. Those dogs are really cute. Uh, my brother is showing me. My brother just sent me a picture. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. He just sent me this picture of this high quality catnip. That's so funny. No, that's funny. Oh my gosh. What's the funniest thing your siblings have ever done to you for you? Funniest thing they've ever done. I'm looking at wow. It's supposed to get down to 8 degrees today. And then on Friday it's supposed to get down to 4. Yeah, you really don't want to be out there for that. I gotta tell my brother, yes. Send the cheetah some high power catnip. Oh, Labrador retrievers, yep. Yep, we gotta watch out for those imposters. Uh wow. How many puppies did your dog have, Rick? I don't think you had 13. Didn't you have like 6 or 7? That's still a lot of puppies. I mean, I don't care if it's puppies or kittens. Anytime you have like six, anytime you have over 6, that's a lot. That's a lot of dogs and kittens, puppies and kittens. 7. So you had 7. Yep. 7 both times. Okay. So you had 7 and Mark had 13. Man, that's a lot of dogs. That's not 13's not the average litter though, is it, Mark? Isn't the average litter supposed to be like around 7 for a dog? 6 or 7 puppies for a dog? I mean, 13 seems to be a lot. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, don't dogs and cats both have around 7 or 6 to 8 spots for the milk bar? That's gonna be yeah. How are you feeding them, Mark? You must be feeding them by hand, huh? So they can all eat. Yeah, I'm just trying to. That's gonna be some sort of record. 13 puppies. That. All right. Well, I guess I could talk a little bit about the calendar. Uh, uh, wow. Okay, so next Tuesday, the first, we have actor Akeem Bozeman will be here on the 1st of February. On the 2nd of February, I have no idea. Yep, no idea. On Thursday, February 3rd, we have our first husband and wife acting team. Eric Lum and Judy Lay will be here with us at 8 p.m. Let's see. February 7th, Jennifer Blanc will be back with us on this 8 p.m. On the 8th of February, uh, Dennis Malin and will be back along with his two co-stars, the Valencia twins, on the February 8th. On the February 9th, we have actress Sean Riley will. I don't see you. All right. Hold on, guys. We're having some technical difficulties here. It just never fails. The first of every show always does this. Oh, there he is. Oh, that's not him. That's me. Uh, Yeah, this is not one of my better days today. All right. All right. Now let me go tell him to. All right, sorry about that, fellas. Yep. So, thanks for sticking around. There he is.
How we doing, sir?
Ta-da! Good, good. Now,
How
now that we're live
we are live indeed in space.
in space,
Yes, where they're building a movie studio.
they probably are.
Oh, they are actually.
What are they really? Are they really?
Yeah, the trades were saying that Tom Cruise is doing a new film. They're not saying what exactly it is, but he's going to film it in space, and now they're building a studio that's going to attach to the space station.
That's absolutely insane.
We can't even get films to stay in LA, but they're building studios in space. It's
Wow.
kind of
Wow. I didn't know. I heard nothing about that.
yeah,
That
pretty
that's a, well. You know what? Why am I not surprised? It's Tom Cruise.
right. I mean, he could do anything. Apparently, that's good. Good, good. I think it'll. The footage will be amazing.
Yes.
I mean, it'll
Yeah.
be
Well,
remarkable. But
the footage. The footage they do now for space. I mean, if you look at Interstellar and Gravity and Life, it's pretty damn spectacular already.
it is. And now I guess think of if it's real, how much better it's going to be. I guess.
Oh my God, it's just absolutely. I can't even imagine. I mean, how? I mean, just the logistics of it. It's going to be.
Oh, I mean, the insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, the insurance, but it'll be exciting, and I'm sure it's gonna change everything. Now, maybe how I kind of duplicated it is now they'll have this studio there that now when people need to do that kind of stuff, I duplicated. Oh, we'll just go to space, or who's ever there can film something for us and send it to us.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Instead of spending the millions of dollars on scientists and the space station, now we can subsidize Hollywood movies. Yeah, because they got to be attached to the space station. That's not
Yeah,
exactly what we spend our tax money for. To build a space station. Build a studio out there. I don't know.
yeah.
I think that's just purely ego driven. There's no logic for it.
Yeah, I mean, I could think of, better things to do with money. Like,
Yes.
statistically, 99% of the actors, at 99% of actors will quit. So why not maybe make it more so people can succeed and more opportunities for them? But, they want a space movie. That is the way to do it. Shoot in space. It's going to look good.
Well, they've done documentaries where they've shot from the space station.
Yeah.
There's been several IMAX movies done with that.
Yeah, it's
But as
remarkable.
far as a feature film goes, it's like, what's it going to be? Like a two-man My Dinner with Andre? You know?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe he's doing a documentary, but yeah, you could read up about it and check it out. It's pretty interesting, So he always does things pretty well. Top Gun. It's going to be all the he was really in these F-15s, or F-14s, whatever they're called. So I think that I'm
They
really
do,
excited to see that.
yeah, they flew in Super Hornets, two-seaters.
Oh, is
And
that what they're called?
yeah, yeah, that's amazing to me. Now I'll have to
Oh,
tell you that's incredible. I saw the for Maverick. You said the previews for that,
well,
and you see the
it
actors actually in the jets.
it's remarkable. The trailer inside was just remarkable. I loved it. It was so exciting.
Yeah, that's a movie. That's a movie I really truly am waiting to see. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I think the studio's waiting to see it too. They can't wait for it to come out. It keeps getting pushed back.
oh my gosh, the pushing back is just ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Yeah, maybe scared because things are so different now. Now it's, movie theaters are having trouble and the streaming service, and you got to know what's going to go on streaming service, what's going to go at the movie theater. It's very interesting nowadays. It's a funny bunch of squirrels in this movie business.
Hi, Jonathan. Our friend Jonathan's here. He's saying he loves the Rocky poster and the T-shirt. Don't forget the T-shirt.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
and it's his all-time favorite film franchise. Now, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's your favorite film. I thought Thin Man was your favorite, Jonathan.
Well,
Oh,
see,
wait a
that's
minute.
a
I think
that's a
that's mine.
true great person who the Rocky films are their favorite film franchise.
Uh, yeah, they just released that the director's cut of Rocky 4, I think it was.
Yeah, what'd you think,
Uh,
Patrick?
how? I mean, I'm sure you absolutely loved it. Um,
I
before
saw
the
it.
huh?
Yes, I did
Is
see it.
was there more acting in that cut than the theatrical version? Because I mean, I saw the Rocky 4 at the theater, and
Yeah.
the one thing that stuck with me then and now is, oh my God, the training montage lasted freaking forever.
Right. Well, even Sly says it's like during that time MTV was big. So it was like some people say it was like a 90-minute music video almost.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I find it to be better. You have I don't know exactly, so don't quote me, but I want to say about maybe 30 minutes, 20 30 minutes of new footage. And to me it fits better with the Rocky franchise. You see that, Apollo is not getting annihilated, and there's that, rockiness where he's trying to overcome this huge Drago that is totally taken out his life and changed it. So it's more of that rockiness. There's a lot of advice he's giving, and I think it flows much better with the whole franchise.
Yeah, because I thought the fourth one was my least favorite.
Really? Well, I think you should give it a shot. I think you'll like it.
Oh, I,
And yeah,
I want to see it.
this
I,
one, it gives a little backstory. So it actually starts with Rocky 3.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and then it goes into it, and he cleaned the fight scenes. I found to be absolutely remarkable, much more realistic. The sound effects were better. I think you'll go from not liking it to liking it.
I want to see the theatrical. I want to see the director's cut. Director's
Yeah,
cuts are always better than the theatrical cuts all the time.
absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
Uh, it's absolutely true. I mean, you let a director do his own film, and it's always going to be better than, because for one thing, it will run a little longer. They always do. I mean,
oh
a lot of
yes,
times you'll hear a director say, "Well, we came in at 3 hours or 4 hours, and then the editing had to begin for, like for a 2 hour spot." I think editing is probably the hardest part for a director.
oh my God,
It's got to be the toughest part, because you're basically watching your creation being chopped to ribbons. Uh,
100%. I mean, yeah, that's where a movie begins is in the editing room because
uh,
it's quite a process.
I see Johnson says he loves the classics, but the Rocky films are the greatest.
Oh my
Um,
God, this Jonathan guy is my favorite.
yes, well, you'll get a chance to sub to him.
Yeah.
This is one thing about doing a show on YouTube is, after we put this up, and you can go through and then go through everybody in the chat and go ahead and sub to their channel. And these folks here, they will sub to you as well. In fact, what is your channel's name?
My YouTube channel.
Yeah,
It's Lorenzo Leonard 1.
the Lorenzo Leonard one.
Oh no, just Lorenzo Leonard 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of that. And
Yeah. And being that Mr. Jonathan's a Rocky fan, on my YouTube channel, I started this channel on the channel, which is I go on the street asking people how the Rocky films have inspired your life. So
uh,
I'll be there going up to people asking them, and you'd be surprised the things people say about the Rocky franchise. And actually, after the director's cut, Patrick, I was right there getting people as they walked by and getting their viewpoints.
let's see. Mr. Bones is already on it. Mr. Bones
Nice.
is man. Yep, there it is. There you are. Okay.
That's me.
Yep. I subbed to you earlier, and so yeah, I did sub to you earlier. So now you are up to 43, and these folks here in our chat, they will come by and support you, sir.
I appreciate it. Yes, thank you so much, everyone. We all need the support.
Thank you, Bones. You're the man. So let's go back to your beginning before we come back to talk more Rocky, because there will be a
I
lot more Rocky.
I
Uh,
like that, Patrick.
yes. Thanks for first of all, thank you for showing up. This is literally the last minute. Um, Unfortunately, our guest Stephen, who we both know, had a prior engagement, but he was kind enough to link us up to do the show tonight. I really do appreciate it, Stephen, and wishing just putting you in our thoughts and prayers, and our love and respect to you and Chuck. And
Absolutely. Hello. Yes.
right.
But my
So
pleasure. Thanks for having me, sir.
yeah, I'm a little sluggish today. I'm trying to find my energy, and I don't know where it went because it was really good this afternoon. But
Maybe
it
you got
seems
to
like
stand up and jump like 5 times.
maybe I ought to
That'll do
go.
it.
Maybe I should go around with Rocky.
I don't.
That,
He's got the heart, you know.
you know what's funny though? Let's stay with Rocky for a minute because there's one thing
Okay.
I will have to say. Uh, Both Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren,
Mhm.
while they were at their peak, right back then, their the vitality and youth and everything else.
Oh yeah.
But they're so much better actors today than they were back then.
I agree. I think life experience does that to you. As you go through the ups and downs in life, it changes you. And if you're a positive person, I think it changed you for the better. And definitely look at Stallone and Creed. He was fantastic. He
Yeah.
was, like the Mickey character, and he, got nominated for an Academy Award, should have won, in my opinion, and just did fantastic.
And everything I've seen Dolph Lundgren do in the last 10, 15 years has been really strong. Even all those straight to video efforts. I've seen a lot of movies where he clearly he's the best thing about it, and it's just not because of his name. It's because he truly goes to work. He works. He's not there. He's not punching a pay card. He is. He tries to bring his best to every role he does.
Yeah,
And
he seems to be a very professional actor. One of my favorite movies is actually one of his early movies after Rocky. Have you ever seen I think it's Showdown in Little Tokyo, where it's Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son?
yes, yeah,
Great
I saw
movie.
I saw one that he did called Skin Traffic. It was with him and Tony Jaa, and that movie it was great. It was great about human trafficking. That movie had a lot of heart. That was a really top. It was actually him and Tony Jaa and Peter Weller. And man,
Oh, okay.
the movie was good.
I'll have to check
Uh,
that one out.
uh, and then yeah, I mean, I just of course the only thing the only thing I didn't like about Stallone since since in the last 10 years is that he got totally miscast in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Um, and the second one where he's the character of Starhawk.
Yeah.
God, I just wish I could have just walked up to him and say, "No, Sly, no," and just shake him like, "No, don't do it." Uh, but going back to your beginning,
Yeah.
let's go back to your origins. Where were you born and raised at?
I was born in Berkeley, Illinois, in the Midwest. And growing up, actually, the first memories of my life, 2 years old, I told my mom I wanted to be an actor.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was watching TV, and in the TV room, I come running into the kitchen, and I was like, "Mommy, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor." And then the next memories of my life is 5 years old and on. But I remember that the first moment it came into my head, and it's always been when I talked about what I wanted to do.
So when did you start on that path?
So I talked about it all the time, and then in 8th grade, I did my first play. It was a play at our school called The Gift. It was about Jesus and the apostles. And then when I began high school, my sophomore year, I started doing plays as much as I could. And then my junior year, I transferred to a high school that had a lot of acting classes offered and whatnot. Went there, graduated, did a lot more plays. That was my first time taking an acting class in high school with Miss Boyer from Oak Park River Forest. She was a very nice and wanted actors to do well and grow. And then I transferred after high school, I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. And then when I finished there, I moved to LA and 2000 and to begin that LA dream.
Isn't that funny? I mean, you mentioned your acting teacher young. You would think that teachers that teach drama at junior at the junior high level or the high school level, you would think someone would be really jaded, and just like it's just a job. You're just,
Yeah, it's
going
true. They
through the
would just be like a throwaway class, whatever, but she was awesome.
Yeah,
She was even like when she would when we would do plays, she would want, if it was a lead role for a boy or a girl, she would want both boy and girl to try out. Like if it was a lead role for a female, she would still want the boys to audition because she thought, hey, if they were better, we'll change the whole play just to fit them. So she was really awesome. Like to really help actors and do well. She was very not mean at all. When I went to college, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, that's where I learned about people being mean to actors.
right.
That's where that started.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody I've talked to pretty much always has a really positive memory to think about when they're in high school, when they're starting doing, drama and acting in a high school. And
Yeah, that's good.
a lot of them have that reverse thing when they get to college, where all of a sudden this, the bitterness or
Yeah,
the it should have been me type of attitude. You think that you
maybe.
get at the high
Yeah,
school level, but you actually get it at the next level.
yeah, maybe because you're an adult now, they could just be truthful to you, so they just let it out. But yeah, in high school, it was always nice, never a bad thing at all.
No, I guess that encourages people to make that next step. It's like, wow, if
Yeah,
it's such a pleasant experience here in high school, I guess when I go to the next level, it'll be even better.
yeah.
And sometimes it is, but more often than not, it's I guess it depends on the teacher, but at that next level, there's more regret. There's more. I should be working. I shouldn't be teaching. That type of thing.
Well, I definitely had that. You could tell there were, the teachers were failed actors and they were always like in deep thought. But, I was always taught by my parents that always have the glass half full. So it's a good setup for how the entertainment business is that they're going to be very harsh, not forgiving. So then when I came to LA and all that started, it really didn't, I was able to roll over it.
Now you were in New York, you said for your training. That's probably one of the two best towns to actually learn, right? I mean, New York and LA would be the two four.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, when you think of acting, you think, especially movies, TV, you think of New York and LA. And I researched a lot, and there was a lot of people who went to the Academy of Dramatic Arts and then later went on to be very successful. So, and I was taught you go to high school, you go to college, and then you begin your career. So that's what my college choice was.
How did how was your college experience?
The actors, the students were wonderful. They were just like a breath of fresh air. Everyone got along. It was fun. The teachers and the school was that they were just some of the worst people you could ever meet.
Yeah.
Except one teacher who I recently got in contact with to thank him for being good. But they were, yeah, just not nice, putting you down. And that's unfortunate. And since then, I believe they've grown and they're not that way anymore. But at that time, that's how they were. But I still got to go to this amazing school, and it taught me to be tough. And everything works out for the best.
What were some of your highlights at school? What are some of the positive things you remembered?
We were on Oedipus, and we had to do monologues, and I was doing Oedipus, and they wanted us to learn it word for word. You couldn't miss one word because they felt the writer wrote it. If you get a TV or film job, you never know. Maybe the writer wants you to say "and" for some reason. "And" means everything. So you never had something so big, and it was 2 pages, really small print. So I was just very proud that I didn't miss one word, and it was the one time that I got a great acknowledgement from them. But what's interesting is, like what I was saying about the students, the teachers were sometimes, except the dance teacher, Bill, I still talk to today. He was awesome. He's always been awesome. But the other ones, they were, a little too abusive mentally. But then you would leave and the students would put their arm around you and say, hey, don't worry about that. You did good. Maybe they're just a failed actor. Don't worry about that. So it all worked out. But that was one of the times. And then after 3 months, they said I wasn't doing as well. I wasn't at the point I should be. So I said, what do I need to do? I don't know. You figure it out. So I took double acting classes and double voice classes and double speech classes. So on Mondays and Fridays, I would go to school from 8 to 6 o'clock, doing acting, voice, and speech all day long, every Monday and Friday, to help better myself, and it worked out.
Wow, that's rough. That's a heavy class load. Were they just go basically? Were you just hearing the same thing you're already hearing? I mean, you did a double, right? So were they, Monday? Did you hear the same plan on Friday?
It's funny. The night I would do 8 to 1 for my schedule that was originally given to me, and then the extra was from 2 to 6, and they wouldn't give me credit for it, but I was allowed to do it. The night people were much nicer. It was interesting. They were like, "Oh, Lorenzo, good job." Oh, no, I don't remember them being mean. It was the morning people who were more bitter.
Wow, isn't that something?
Maybe the night people got to sleep in, so they were like, "Awesome, we feel good."
Or maybe they were auditioning themselves.
Yeah, maybe, absolutely.
Yeah. What was the audition? What was your first audition? What was the process like for you? And what was the part you auditioned for?
For this to get in the school?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. You had to audition to get in. So yeah, what did you do to get in?
I had to audition to get in, and you had to go to a place where they audition. So I was in the west suburbs of Chicago, and they didn't have any place there. So we had to drive like 6 hours. My mom drove me to the audition place, and I had to do a monologue. So I did like a 5-minute monologue, and they called. And then a couple months later, they said I got in, and I was super, super excited, beyond excited.
How big was your first class? I mean, how big do you think your first class was? Your freshman class? I mean, did they actually take you based? Do you feel like they took you based on your talent, or was it just people they just got in just to get in?
I think they actually took people on talent because they were really very, very well known. And in our class, freshman class, I'm not 100% certain, but maybe like 100 people in our class.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it was broken up between the morning and the afternoon.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would be that would yeah. Isn't that just the case? I mean, they actually gave you a lesson in real life acting right there, just doing that, because there are a lot of this from living in LA. How many times you get an audition and you go there and you're only there for 5 minutes, but it takes you 2 hours, 3 hours just to get there.
I never, it's funny. I never thought of that, Patrick, but it's so true. I mean, I've driven places and been there literally 2 seconds, but it took me forever to get there, forever to wait, and then you're in and out.
Hey, TJ, how are you? Al, how are you? I see you guys are in there. And Hobbs's cousin's here too. Our friend Hobbs' cousin came in, so let me get him out of here.
Hello, Hobbs' cousin. Do you know Shaw? Hobbs and Shaw?
That's right. Or I always like Calvin and Hobbs.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after the school, I then moved to LA after school in 2000 to pursue that because that was what it was all about, getting to LA to pursue the dream.
No Broadway for you, huh?
No, I wasn't. I did off Broadway in New York, but No, I wasn't. I was very content with my plays being just getting me to where I wanted to go. But no, I wanted to go to California and do movies because I grew up on movies. Movies were my best friend in the whole world, and that's what I always wanted to do.
What were some of your favorite movies growing up? Some of your
Uh,
TV shows, favorite actors?
Obviously, Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. Definitely a big one there. The whole Rocky franchise, because when I wanted to move to LA, my dad sat me down. He's like, "We're going to watch these movies. You have to pay attention to this guy." And then we watched Rocky 1, 2, and 3, because that 3 was the highest one out. And he told me about Sly, how he wrote everything, and he said that's what you need to be like. You need to be like Rocky and write your own stuff and have that Rocky attitude. But it was him, Tom Cruise. He was always doing just fantastic films that how can you not enjoy watching? My another favorite film is It's a Wonderful Life. I always thought It's a Wonderful Life was a very well-made film.
Yes, it is a great movie.
Just a great movie everyone can relate to. And then the Tom Hanks film that the title is fleeting my mind right now, Money Pit. I loved Money Pit.
Him and Shelley Long.
Yes, I loved Money Pit. He should do more comedies.
He did a lot of comedies though.
He did.
Yeah, he was actually known as a comedian coming up. If you look at his background, he came up as a comedic actor.
Yeah, and then he transitioned. Yeah. But I always watched movies. I was allowed to pretty much watch a lot of different movies. So I loved watching movies. It was always my thing to watch movies.
Okay, now here's a true test of a fan. But what was your least favorite Sylvester Stallone film?
Least favorite.
The one you just said no.
I enjoyed it, but my least favorite, I think, was Oscar.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I liked Stop or Your Mom Will Shoot. I thought it was great. I thought it was very entertaining. I know he puts it down, but I thought it was very entertaining. Oscar, I just thought was, I enjoyed it, but that was my least favorite.
Right. I think growing up, because he was so big in the '80s and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think the one that got me, which I think a lot of people would think that I would say Cobra because Cobra's. But the one I thought that was the worst one that he did was The Specialist.
Oh, okay. I enjoyed that one.
I just, oh my gosh, it was. I mean, if they didn't, it would have been fine if they wouldn't have had it had the worst sex scenes and love scenes in any Hollywood movie. That was just wow, it was horrible. I felt really bad for both of them.
I thought Over the Top, I thought is one of his top 5 best movies that I think could have done really, really well. I don't know what happened, but that movie I think is awesome. Over the Top, the music, the story, I love Over the Top.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I know a lot. I know that movie got it seems like now it's starting to become more and more popular. It's like starting to become like a cult favorite. So what year did you come here to Los Angeles?
So I moved to Los Angeles in January of 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really had no idea what to do, but I said I got to just get there. So my dad helped me move there. I was renting a room to just begin that whole process of California.
Was it culture shock for you?
Not culture shock, no, because after high school, I moved to New York and I didn't know anybody. I was renting a room in this huge city because I grew up in the suburbs. No, I'm pretty good. I just was so focused. I wanted to do this. I was just trying to figure out how to do this. So I signed up at an acting class that a friend told me that my dad heard about from a friend, and just started going to class, talking to people. And, from being in the class, they tell you about this, they tell you about that. And soon after I got my first agent, a friend of mine got invited to not an open call. It was an invited call to an agency. And I said, well, let me come to the invited call. maybe they don't have people on the list. Maybe they don't have a list. They're just inviting people. So that actually happened. They invited people, but they didn't make a list.
Okay.
It's back when you showed people headshots. And it
Yeah.
was in black. It was in black and white.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess headshots are still important, but the audition process now is pretty much all self-tape.
It's all self-tape, which is, I think, good and bad. It's good because then you don't, because so many jobs I had to quit and walk out of because they wouldn't let me go to my audition. So now I could do it myself, but you're the director. So you're so like, I got to do it again. No, the sound isn't good. The audio. Oh, I need this equipment.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of people talk about that. Like
Yeah.
the self-taping process can be rough because a lot of people they feel like it is both bad and good. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as it being good, I mean, you got that chance to redo it over and over and over until you feel
Right.
comfortable with it. And then there's also the con of it is like a lot of people, they have to go out there and spend the money on the equipment. And I've heard more than one actor mention how they didn't necessarily have the money at the time, but they still have to
Exactly.
find a way to do it, and that's rough.
Right. It's really rough. I think there's I don't know what it is, but there's, actors are so put down where, oh, his headshot was from his iPhone. He didn't have good audio equipment, so self-tape is bad. But what people don't realize sometimes is that it's, it's expensive to be an actor. You're still doing it. And, I got good headshots that I got from a photographer, but sometimes, actors can't afford and they're just doing the best they can. It's not necessarily you should put them down, but at least
Exactly.
they're doing their best. They got some kind of headshot.
Exactly. I see that. I see that. I see those shenanigans in acting groups.
Yeah.
Someone will pop up with a headshot and say, they'll say feedback, and then it's just instead of just sitting there and going like, maybe the lighting could be a little better, or or maybe the angle will be a little better. I mean, I see people taking shots at each other, like oh, that's
Yeah,
really
exactly. I
like,
actually stopped like really concerning about it because to me it's all an opinion. 10 people, you can get 10 agents, each one of them will like a different shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so
true. I mean, some people like it they want you to be indoors when you take a headshot. They want you to be outdoors when you take a headshot, like real life or still, or you don't
Yeah.
really know. I would listen, I guess I would just grab like 10 casting directors and just send them my headshot that way and just see like, okay, or 11. That way you get a majority and sit there and say, can you please tell me the pros and cons of my headshot? And
Yeah,
whatever
that'd
they
be good.
tell you, that's what I'm going to do because they're casting directors. So I don't really care what Joe Bag of Donuts is saying. I only
Right.
care about people who will be able to hire me.
Yeah, you want the horse's mouth to tell you.
So what was the first project you auditioned for when you were in Los Angeles, and what was it like?
Well,
I mean,
when I
now
got
this is for real.
Yeah, well, when I moved to LA, I got a photographer who came from a referral, who ended up being one of my first like salty experiences because the shots had when you're shooting and they go cut, print, check the gate. Well, this particular guy, I learned later, he didn't check the gate. So there was like hairs in my shots, and I didn't know them till later. So that started my journey of you really gotta watch everything, dot your I's, cross your T's. But when I got good, decent shots, I started doing Backstage West, and that was back when it was newspapers, and then you had to put it in an envelope and you had to send it in the mail. So I did that for a little bit, and I got I think my first one might have been my student film called Dead Wrong from the New York Film Academy. Great school. Great experience. And I played a gentleman who died from a drug overdose, and then he came back to life, and they hired someone to do all this special effects makeup on me. So I looked like a zombie, and I wanted to go back and continue my relationship with my girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my first one, and it was good because that was my first big thing. Because it took it took a while to really get anything. But while I was shooting that, I got an audition for a commercial, and I played Allie G in a Stimorol gum commercial. And that was my first big job. I remember I made $1,000. I had a trailer. That was like, oh my God, I felt like a superstar because that was the first big thing I ever did.
Have you done very many commercials?
I've done, that is the only commercial I've done.
The Rocky Files is here.
Oh, the Rocky Files, we love them. If anyone is a Rocky fan, they got to follow the Rocky Files. Stacy, Mike, and Anthony, great people.
There you go, Jonathan. If you're still inside, if not, I'll send him the link.
He's got to follow the Rocky Files. Man, they're awesome people, and they are an encyclopedia of Rocky knowledge. They know more than Rocky, I think. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's been your only commercial, huh?
So I did that commercial, and I've had so many auditions for commercials. I've come so close getting commercials where I would have gotten paid $500,000, $100,000, but it's a big competition, and I don't know why I'm remembering this funny story. At one point I was like, it was like 2007. I was like, I gotta start getting advice from, like you were saying, the horse's mouth. So I started going to these showcases every Thursday, and they'd have vice president of casting, the president of casting, and it was great that we would do scenes in front of them, and that's where I learned a lot about doing the right scene that's right for me, and why sometimes it doesn't work out. Maybe it's just not right for me. But we had the vice president of casting for Sony come in. Wonderful, nice lady. And there was about 30 people in who were going to audition. She said, just stay seated. I'm going to go over each person. So she's super nice. She's going over, okay, Patrick, your shot. Okay, it's not good. Do this. This is your look, and I think you'll do great. All right. And and before we read, and she gave us pointers on how we read. So I was so excited. I was like, this is great. So I think it was Sony. And it gets to me, and she looks at me and goes, you did good on your scene, but I don't know what to tell you. You look like you're going to kill us all. Next. And goes to the next one. And every other person spent a lot of time. And I was like, well, what did I do?
Maybe she saw you more like a horror film type of actor.
Maybe, yeah. She thought I was going to kill everybody. So, yeah. But since then, those are the kind of auditions I get a lot of. So that's good, I guess. I don't know.
How do you handle not getting a part, because most of the time most actors, it's just like baseball. Baseball, a player, if he hits the ball 3 out of 10 times, he's a Hall of Famer. What's it like for the audition aspect of it? How do you handle it when you don't get a part?
Most of the time it's okay. I think when for me, it was when I was auditioning with somebody and then they became like uber famous, or they made a lot of money. Then that's when it's like that's when it kind of hurt. But most of the time it's especially now that I've been in LA a while, I go to an audition and I don't even think about getting the audition now. I just think about doing the best job I can so they don't forget me. And then as soon as I leave, the wife will text me, want me to call, how'd you do, this and that. And I send a follow-up email, write their names down, who I met, and don't even think about the audition anymore. But before, yeah, I would really like, I didn't get it. And, but you get over that, I think.
That's an interesting question. I've never even thought about asking that, but I'll ask you this.
Okay.
Who have you auditioned with that went on to success? Or your idea was success?
Yeah, well, there's one guy. I was doing this. I did this audition for this teacher in Chatsworth. It's early 2000s. I auditioned with this actor who I'll tell you. We both got this. He was doing like an independent film. It was kind of like a documentary about the military, but he made like a short film of what his experience was, and it was going to be the short film, and then it was going to go on to show the the real people. So I did this film with him, and everything was great, and we were talking a lot, staying in touch, and then after that he auditioned for a show and became super famous. And recently I think he was on the one Batman TV show, but Benjamin McKenzie.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just
yeah,
saw him.
yeah. So he was on I forgot the yeah. He's done a lot of different shows since then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that could be kind of tough, and especially when you hear these actors saying, "Oh, I struggled for a year and a half." Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Or some just
yeah,
some just come out and they go to the first audition and they get picked up right away. I mean, there are
yeah,
for every one story like that, there's 99 that don't do that. So you just
yeah.
have to keep plugging along.
Yeah, but the
Uh,
thing about that is that bothered me at the time, but then cut to later where I had to, like Stephen Foster, take career into my own hands and start writing. And now, thank God I didn't become, well known right away, because now I can rely on myself. I do a lot of writing, tons of writing, and I star in my own projects and I get distribution. So it all works. My dad used to tell me, if you're honest, everything that happens will work out for the best.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
As long as you stay, you keep your principles and your integrity,
Yeah.
and your ethics. I mean, yeah, you can go to sleep at night, you know.
Ex- exactly. Your head hits the pillow and you feel good no matter what. You did your best. So, you know.
You sort of feel sorry for people though, and even though it's probably I'm not necessarily sure it's a good problem to have. I mean, when you think about it for a minute and you think that, yeah, I would like to have that problem, but then, but when it does happen to you and if it, and all of a sudden you realize that maybe you misspoke, but I mean, can you imagine going like being Ben and just going like from 0 to 60?
Oh, I think it's great. And like, what do you do?
Yeah.
All the actors who've done that, who've gone 0 to 60, like Ben Affleck was just interviewed by Matt Damon for his new film Tender Bar, and he says too, it's weird. No one wants you, and now they're all saying you're great.
Yeah. And
You know,
someone like Ben Affleck, he didn't handle it well at all. If you think
and you
about
want to do the right projects, because it's like if you do the wrong ones, that window closes and you're gone. So I think you got to just stay focused and do your best, and hopefully it all works out.
say, just, sometimes you wish that you had that, I wish, like people who win the lottery, they sit there and say, I wish I won the lottery. But when they do win it, oh my God, a lot of people, you hear them over and over and over say, I sort of wish I hadn't won, because
Yeah, if you win,
all of a sudden your life is no longer your life,
if you win the lottery,
you're not living it on your pace or conditions, you're living in wow.
yeah,
Um,
yes, you got to be careful if you win the lottery. You got to learn how to say no.
Same thing with same thing with with it's like the same thing with with overnight success. It sounds great, people get it, and then sometimes they can't handle it. Like they have a hard time grasping what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. That's what, like, I think it's what also has benefited me is that instead of coming to LA and making it right away, I've had to have those ups and downs that now I know what I want, and I've had so many people be mean and disrespectful that I could stay focused, and no matter what, I'll keep that eye on the prize.
so what was your first project outside after you did your commercial? What was your first project that you booked?
I booked this film called Big Top Winkle, and I was so excited. It was they made a silent film about this little dog named Winkle, and it was like clowns and whatnot. about a group of clowns and doing their show. And it was kind of done like a silent film. It was done just like the old silent films,
Yeah.
where the emotions exaggerated, and they'll tell the audience before. And I played Turtle Boy, and they made a turtle shell for me, and I was like 2.5 hours in makeup to get me all ready. But it was a huge experience. I went on the audition, I got cast like right away. Worked on the set for 2 weeks. I had my own trailer. It was wonderful.
Wow. Wow, that sounds like an interesting movie. Who put it out? Was that?
You know what's funny about it is it never came out,
Oh,
and it never came out. And
yeah,
then
isn't it something like that. I heard that. Was it a short film or a feature?
oh no, it was a feature that had a pretty substantial budget. But in Hollywood, these things happen that they never come out. So it was about a year or two later, it started coming to me that, oh, you need to get a reel. And then all that started. So I was starting to put my stuff together on VHS tape, because at that time your reel was on VHS tapes.
Wow.
And so then that's when I started tracking down the director to get the tape, and I got to see it. It was pretty good. I don't know why it didn't, go further, but it didn't. But I was still excited. I got my tape. And I got to put it on my reel, and maybe I'll have to get it transferred to an MP3 file and put it on Instagram.
Yeah, I wonder if you could. I mean, are you still in touch with the people who made the film?
I talked to them years and years ago, and they were, doing lots of different things. But I still have the film, and I could transfer. I have the equipment to transfer it to my computer.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could probably do that.
Yeah. I don't see why you couldn't make a few copies for your close friends.
Right. I'll put it on the YouTube page. I'll start a channel that says, when you do projects that don't come out.
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I have heard of movies that a lot of times they'll start a movie. I've heard of the story, they'll start a movie and not finish it. I really don't think I've heard too many movies that actually have been made and not ever come out. I mean, there's some that sit on the shelf for 3 or 4 years, 5 years, but
Yeah.
eventually they do see the light of day. Somebody will
Yeah.
sit there and say, I need to put something out, some distributor company or whatever, and they get the movie for relatively, pennies on the dollar, and they put it out. Hopefully it'll see the light of day.
Yeah, I've done a lot of those, actually, where they short films and features that were just never came out.
Yeah, I know about short films.
Short films, yeah. And then I started asking when I would book the job. Well, when I was in the audition, they would ask me, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "Are you going to finish this? Is it going to come out?" And they would say yes, but
No, what anybody says yes, especially independent film wise, you got to take that with a grain of salt. I mean,
you
a
do.
lot of times
You really do.
and they have to fight for distribution. I mean, it's different if you go there and it's a Sony movie, or if it's or
Yes.
Disney. Yes, it's gonna really be released on some level, but independent film, you just got to hold your breath. Hopefully, I have enough budget, to make it through, because that's really what kills it.
Yeah.
It's the budget.
And that's what started me on, I was doing so many of these independent films, short films, and features that wouldn't come out. I mean, there was a lot. And then I said, I got to make my own, because I'll finish it and I'll get it done. So I started making short films in what was it? I think about 2006, and trying to figure out how to make movies. And many shorts later, it was just, I was trying to figure it out, so it wasn't working out. And then by 2014, I made my first short that actually did well. It was, I don't know, like the 4th or 5th short. And that particular film now is streaming on Amazon.
That's awesome.
Yeah, self-help. I was very, very proud of it. That finally, if you continue doing it, you figure out something.
Yeah, because the more sets you get on, the more experience you pick up.
Yeah. For me, I was doing these shorts, trying to figure it out. It wasn't working, and then I actually read from Sylvester Stallone that said the best way to be a writer is to write what you know. So I was like, all right. So I took some moments of my life as an actor where nothing was working out and my girlfriend broke up with me and turned that into a short called Self-Help, and now it's on Amazon.
Um, do relationships? How do relationships? How do they endure when when you're an up and coming actor, when you're trying to get become a working actor? Is it how rough is it on a relationship?
I think it can be pretty rough if you don't find the right person. Maybe you just take it as, oh, I'm never going to marry this person and it's just for now. But when you want to get married, I think you have to find that first, you have to know that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. And you have to find someone who's going to support you through all that. If they don't, then you're going to quit because you're going to hear the emotional hitting of the other person saying, okay, you're done. You did it. So if you find that right person, it'll all work out, I think.
I mean, it's got to be, you got to be. I guess in L.A. more than anywhere else. I mean, they must hear that all the time.
Oh,
Well, what do you do? I'm an actor.
oh yeah. Well, at one point I stopped telling people because I would hear the same stuff over and over again, and it wasn't nice. So I was like, I'm not going to tell people. They don't get it. But
The
now
first thing it's the first thing they ask you. What have you done?
No, they wouldn't ask. They're like, what do you do? I was like, oh, I'm an actor. And they'd say, oh, what restaurant do you work at?
Oh,
And so it's now I say it, when they say, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm an actor and I got these movies on streaming services and I'm doing writing. So now I definitely say it, but
you have a body of work. Now you have a body of work to fall upon.
yeah, but it's, people don't, people are just funny, they don't realize the hard work that goes into being an actor.
You mentioned something earlier, and I'm thinking about Daniel R. Hill. He's an actor I've talked to a couple of times, and one of the things he said, and he went to school too, and he's a classically trained actor. But there's one thing he said that he did that struck me, and that was he said, "When you're an actor, you're an actor. I mean, you are an actor." And that means if someone calls for an audition, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell them that you're at work, you can't get off work, or are you going to go to the audition? And I heard you
Yeah.
mention earlier that there were times where you had to walk off a job for an audition.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. To me, that's a sign of a true actor. I mean,
Yeah.
he's right. You got to do what you have to do for your dream. This is what you are. This is how you identify yourself. You're not identifying yourself as a restaurant worker. You're identifying yourself as an actor. And so I guess when they say, hey, we got a chance for you to audition here, you're right. You got to go. You got to take that chance. It could be that shot that you've been looking for.
Right,
And
exactly. It totally could be, and you can't pass it up.
um, I mean, it's sort of scary at the same time because you still got to pay your bills and whatnot. But you got to weigh it on. You got to weigh it, and is the reward worth? Is it worth more than the risk?
Yeah. Oh, and it'll for me. The first time it happened, I was like, oh, okay, I couldn't get out, so I didn't go, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was like cancer in my mind, the fact that I didn't go, and I made it a point to say I would rather not pay my bills and go to my audition than have that happen.
Yeah, because you just never know.
Yeah, you totally never know.
Uh, I see on your database page. I'm looking at it now,
Yeah.
and I noticed that you are a Star Trek fan because you did some Star Trek. Uh,
You know,
so walk us through, talk us a little bit about that.
what's funny, yeah, is that was the it was an ad that it was on Backstage West or Now Casting. They had an ad. They were looking for this role to fill Sir Gaunt. These guys are Star Trek fans, and they made a fan series, a spin-off of Star Trek, and they went on for like 8 or 10 seasons. And luckily for me, there was this one character, Sir Gaunt, that I was taking over for someone because he couldn't get along with the filmmakers anymore. So they just, yeah. So I applied. They casted me, and I did that. And they even had a fan meet and greet at a hotel. So it was really that was really weird, you know. It was
Your
a
friend
good weird
Timothy,
though, a good weird. I was really excited.
your friend Timothy's here. He says, Lorenzo is wicked awesome. Hello from Kingston, Ontario.
Yes, Mr. Tim, one of the Rocky fans.
So he's here watching it. Yep. And the Rocky File says that you're a great guy. You're the bomb. Great guy, great actor. Yep. We're seeing that.
You
Definitely.
see that? What does this tell you, Patrick? That if you get a great group of people, Rocky fans, they'll support you.
That's right. And the same thing like the Star Trek fans. Now now you said you went to a meet and greet, right?
Yeah, so I did the Star Trek work in the fan series, and then they had a meet and greet because they're the filmmakers that did this fan series were known in the Star Trek world. So we went there and yeah, we had a meet and greet. It was awesome.
Now, were you a Star Trek fan before the show or after the show, or
I know of the show and I Star Trek and I liked it. Wasn't like a huge crazy fan, which they actually liked a lot. They didn't want to cast someone who knew a lot about the series.
oh, okay.
But I
Oh, yeah,
respected the
'cause you get to
series and I enjoyed it, but wasn't like a diehard that watched all the series. And that was one of the reasons I got the audition, though, because they didn't want anyone who knew a lot about it.
right, because you got those uber fanboys that'll sit there and say, "Well, that's not canon," or
Yeah,
Kirk would say that. Oh, yeah, that would drive
yeah,
me.
maybe that's probably right. Yeah.
That would drive me nuts. I want. Can I be the weapons officer? I don't want to be a red shirt. Did you learn about red shirts?
I did not learn about red shirts. I'm embarrassed to say.
Wow. Okay. So on every Star Trek,
All right.
on any level, if you see a guy in a red shirt, they're gonna die.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You see red shirts, they're dead. They're gonna die.
So red shirt, you're done. You're gone.
You're done for. If you ever get casted, if you ever go out for audition for a Star Trek, like Picard or some of the other ones that are coming up, and they say, yeah, we want to cast you. Okay, so you're gonna be a guard number 6, or you're gonna be Jones, and then they say go to wardrobe, and they hand you a red shirt.
I'm
You
done.
know you're not coming back. You're gonna die.
Wow. Red. Well, maybe that makes sense. Red, the blood, you know?
Yeah, it's just yeah. Every if you go through all the Star Trek episodes and the movies, and every time you see a red shirt, they're gonna die.
Wow. Okay. Now I know. Now I know.
Did you ever see a movie called Vision Quest or Galaxy Quest?
Vision Quest. People
Not
talking in the same.
Galaxy Quest with
Oh,
Tim
Galaxy Quest.
Allen.
I have seen Vision Quest. Awesome movie.
Yeah,
With Matthew Modine. Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen, right?
right.
Yes, I've seen it. I have seen it. Yes.
So Sam Rockwell's character, he played a red shirt on one of the show's episodes, and he died.
Oh,
He played a
okay.
red shirt. That was his claim to fame. Yeah, it's a running joke. Uh, thank you, Mark. Thank you guys all for supporting the show tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you very much to Lorenzo's fans and peers for coming out as well. This is awesome. So,
Absolutely. Thank you,
so
guys.
how did you meet Steven? We got to fit this in here. How did
Oh,
you meet
okay.
Steven?
So, like I was saying before, I started making my own films, and then my first short film that did really well was Self Help. It's on Amazon, and then I started submitting it to film festivals, and then this particular film festival, this award here, this is where I first met Steven. My film got nominated for Best Faith-Based Project. He had his film, That's Opportunity Knocking, which won like 30 film festival awards. I believe his is on Amazon too. And we met there. And then we started doing, of course, as you're a filmmaker, you do more stuff. And then I would see him at all the festivals. So we started talking and stayed in touch.
Yeah, he's a really. I think the one thing I would tell people more about Steven, why I would recommend him highly as far as a teacher goes. He is so positive, you know.
Yes. And that's hard to find because most acting teachers are failed actors who are just going to put you down. There's mild, direction, but you shouldn't be hurting somebody's, really putting them down. And he's very positive and helps you find what you're good at. So so we stayed in touch, and through all our projects that become to film festival. So my next film that was at a festival was Into Tartarus, and we saw him again there. And then he has a book on actors, and I did his class where he goes over his book for it's like an 8-week, I believe, like a 4 or 8 week process. That was wonderful as well. So we've stayed in touch and keep going back and forth with projects and whatnot.
Spooky Kisses is here, and she says she didn't know that you didn't know about red shirts.
Oh,
it is sort of hard to believe, isn't it? I agree. I mean, everybody knows about red shirts.
But see, it was good I didn't know, because I got the job. If I would have known, I wouldn't have got the job.
Well, and you did, but you didn't play red shirt either, because I noticed that you appeared in 2 episodes. Red shirts generally just appear in 1 episode because they die.
Thank God. They didn't want this. They wanted this pretty face to go on.
That's right. So when you sit there and they tell you, okay, we're gonna have you on for 3 episodes, you can just take a deep sigh and go like, oh, thank God I'm not a red shirt.
Yeah, if I go again and they give me a red shirt, I was like, I don't look good in red. Give me blue.
Yeah. Excuse me, have you ever been squibbed before? Why are you asking me about that? We're just curious. No. Do you like the color red? Wait a minute, what?
No, I can't wear red. It makes my body implode.
There's a really cute scene in this movie called Wish I Was There with Zach Braff, and there's a scene where, in fact, let me ask you this question before I tell you the story. If you're this is my Zach Braff question. So if you're at an audition, right, and I'm there with you, and I come to you and I say, hey, can you read lines with me? Can you help me with this? What's this character like? I can't hold on. Will you work with me? Will you help me?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. The only reason is if you're there, that means there's probably hundreds of other people who are trying to get the job, and I need to focus on me and keep reading, going over. So it's not that I don't want to. I would love to, but I'm still going over my stuff. Even if you're about to go in the room, you're always thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question.
Yeah, it is. I have helped people where where I didn't have anyone to read with. So I thought, and then it's just the casting director. And then I said, how about this? You read for me and then I'll read for you before we go in. So I have done that.
Yeah, because in the film, he's sitting there and that's what happens. Someone asked him if another character asked him if he would help him, and he sat there for a second, and he's struggling too. He's a struggling working actor, and he asked him, could you help me? And he says, yeah. And so he does, and the other guy gets the part, and then he sees him later on, and he got a part in this movie where he played basically a red shirt, and he comes out and he's been killed. But he's got all this makeup on, that he'd been attacked by some sort of slime monster. So that made me laugh when thinking about that.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's a tough thing. You go to auditions, you gotta do your best, and I think At
least you're honest. Honestly, it's a really tough question.
It is a tough question.
I've only heard a handful of people say no. They'll sit there and say no. I wouldn't do that. Because I'm not there for them. I'm there for me. I got to concentrate on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Especially for the same part, it's like that could be the person who could take that part away from me. It's a very competitive business, and I totally respect that.
Yeah, it's nothing that I'm being mean to him. I just want to take all the time to focus on. So even if I've gone over, like if I'm going to an audition, I've already memorized the lines and I'm already ready. But every second I have, I want to look at the script, because you never know what idea might come to mind.
Now you mentioned you got an award for one of your films as a faith-based.
Yes.
Is that type of movie that you do now? Are you have you done a lot of faith-based films?
No, that's just the particular one that happens to be faith-based because my character in self-help, my character is having a lot of problems in life. All these problems happen, and then the end is he is alone at this lake, and a priest happens to be there, and this priest, talks to him and gives him some advice, and that's what makes it a faith-based film. So no, that just one happens to be a faith-based.
I mean, do you go out for different genres like that? I mean, do you go out for like faith-based films or horror or thrillers, or do you go to them all, or is there any particular genre that you've had more success in that you tailor made your auditions for?
Basically wherever like my type of character is I'll get an audition for. Like I have a film coming out soon called The Girl in the Mountain. And they have a social media you can follow on Instagram. And that is, I believe, a faith-based film, but I play a character who's part of this gang trying to find the girl in the mountain and kidnap her and kill her.
Probably just kidnap her if it's faith-based.
Maybe just kidnap her. Yeah, the audience won't know.
Not too many murders in faith-based films.
Yeah, not too many, but we're trying to get her. We're trying to get her. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I thought that's okay. So you did your Star Trek. I mean, and let's see. I'm gonna just follow. I'm gonna walk through. I'm gonna walk it up.
Oh, okay. It's fun.
Yeah. So
Oh,
film that you did.
Say that again.
The first featured film that you did that came out.
Yeah, the first feature film that came out. Yes, that's a key word to say. That came out. Yes.
Right. That saw the light of day.
Yes, the first feature film I did that came out was called. It started being called The Quiet Kill, but then it got changed to Nightmare Boulevard, and I played the delivery driver. And what was funny is I was doing extra work to get my SAG card. And then I did that film and got the other, I got my SAG card then from that film. But I had 5 lines. I was a delivery driver delivering a package to the main character. I think I still remember the lines. I said, "Hello, is this the Martin residence? Got a package here for Amy Martin. Thanks. Have a nice day." So I was very, very excited about that. It was Yeah, it was from the director who did, I think he did Leprechaun. I remember because he was talking about how I think Jennifer Aniston was in Leprechaun 1.
Yeah, that was her start.
Yeah, so that director directed that one. He was nice, very nice.
It's sort of funny you mentioned that about Jennifer Aniston, and at the time where she was breaking in, I mean, look where she had to fight her way up too. She didn't. I mean, Hollywood is basically nepotism city. I mean, you look at the actors; they're always generational.
Oh yeah, I'm sure her father being successful had a lot to do with her agent representation, at least.
But not at least.
But not at all. That kind of opens the door and makes that part easier for her. But she had to still, work on her craft and audition, and she did well.
Yeah. It really does come down to, as much as you look at it and say, well, yeah, that person got on because of the person's, because their mother or father. That isn't true. That isn't always true at all. Just because you got a last name doesn't mean you have that talent. You just walk in there and just like drop in on your name. You gotta bust your ass just as well.
Yeah, the name might get you in the door, but you're gonna stay from your talent or you're gonna go.
Right. So I mean, the SAG card. You're a SAG. Has SAG helped you out any? I mean, SAG does, or is it hurt?
It actually. I don't want to. I want to lie because I'm very proud to have my SAG card. I love it, but no, it'll hurt, and it doesn't. The only thing SAG does for an actor is if you're working on a set obviously SAG, and someone's mean to you or cheating you out of something, or something's not going right, or they're not following a rule, then SAG is going to take them down like Zorro. But for getting representation or work, no, there's no help there. You're on your own for that. And that's unfortunate. I think they could easily provide that, but that's just the way it is. And at least I'm a SAG member, though, I guess.
So talk to us a little bit about the YouTube channel and how you came up with the idea of doing Man on the Street with Rocky.
Rocky. So I was on the podcast, The Rocky Files. Great people, and we were talking obviously a lot about Rocky, and so I got the idea of going on the street and asking people how, because on the Rocky Files, they always talk about, and we were talking how the Rocky films have just inspired so many people. So I thought, well, wow, what if I go on the street and interview people, and I'll share it to you guys. So that's how it got started. And then I was like, man, I got to do this more, because people, I would meet them on the street and they love talking about the movie. So I like that whole just going up to someone randomly and talking to them, even though you don't really have permission. I think it's exciting. So so we do that every week. My wife holds the camera and we go on the street and we meet people. We just met a guy who I'm going to post a video later, 88 years old, Rocky fan. And so I started posting them on the YouTube channel, and then I'll obviously share a little trailer version on other social media channels.
So what kind of questions do you ask people?
So I'll ask them and going, first I introduce myself. My name is Lorenzo Leonard. I go on the street asking people, how has the Rocky films inspired your life? And some people say, oh, Rocky, oh man, that was awesome. When I was a kid, I used to get bullied all the time. So I started watching the Rocky films and I started working out, and then I beat up my bully.
Oh,
so I've gotten that. And some people just said, I like seeing somebody who is an underdog and makes it big, So it's nice.
You ever get people to tell you, who cares about Rocky, when everybody knows that Creed was a better fighter?
I had one guy say Rocky didn't win. And then I had another guy go up to us like, yeah, so how has the Rocky films inspired your life? No. And just walks away. Can I ask you about Rocky? No. So just, right. And I actually, sometimes people like that better than the interview, because they like the interaction when people are upset.
I think people think they're being set up for a joke.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably, they probably don't realize that you're serious. You're really lighthearted, but I think they probably think that they're being set up for a joke. Have you heard from anybody from the Rocky franchise at all about what you're doing?
I haven't heard from any of them. The Rocky fans obviously have liked and shared and commented and subscribed. They're absolutely wonderful. The Rocky Files people have definitely helped bring, from their big following to have all the Rocky fans come and watch my videos. But no one from the actual Rocky franchise, though. No.
That would be fun to see. It's a great idea.
It'd be fun if I'm like on the street and I'm going, how has the Rocky films inspired you? And then it's Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. Jay Leno had a skit like that, where he would go up to people's houses and knock on the door and ask them questions like that, just asking random questions.
Yeah, jaywalking.
A couple of times he walked up to actor stores. I remember once he walked up to Shawnee Smith's door and didn't know who Shawnee Smith was. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was around Halloween time. He started asking her questions about Halloween or scary movies, and he didn't realize that's who she was, from the Saw films. And so, here he is. He's like, he's just talking, he's blithering away, and there's like one of the better well-known screen queens right in front of him, and he had no idea.
It was awesome.
Hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I haven't met any like famous people doing it, but I have met people who I met this one kid who he's like, yeah, I like the films, they're inspiring. He's like, my dad actually met him. I was like, well, what happened? He's like, well, my dad does construction and he was pulling up to this house doing construction, and this guy walks up to take out his garbage cans, to bring his garbage cans in his house, and it was Rocky.
Oh.
And he said hello, and he said hello back, and he was surprised that Rocky brought in his garbage cans.
Sylvester Stallone does a lot of social media.
He does. He's really funny.
He is very funny, and people forget how funny he is.
I love how funny he is with his daughters. It's absolutely hilarious. He was taking his one youngest daughter years and years ago to school, and he asked his daughter, who would you rather have as a father, Rocky or Rambo? And I just thought that was the best question ever.
Do you ever ask people about any other movies that he's done other than the Rambo series? I mean, or the Rocky series? Do you ever talk about Rambo or anything?
Not yet, because when I asked them about Rocky, they either say something mean to me and walk away, or they don't shut up. They just continue talking about Rocky. So I don't have a chance to get into anything else.
I wonder why do you think it is people are mean about it? It's a simple question.
Yeah, and it's not like I asked you about a movie. It's all, no big deal. It's
are people that are the people that wow, people are that wound tight. That's sad.
Yeah. And so it's but I've been a fan my whole life with Rocky, whole life. And then when I moved to LA to become an actor, I wanted to be in the Rocky movies because they meant so much to me. I wanted to be part of it. So then when Rocky Balboa was getting cast, his son Sage couldn't do it, so he was looking for a new son. I didn't have an agent at the time, so I went to the casting office every day dropping off my headshot. And I finally met them, and they said that they'll bring me in if these actors don't work out. So obviously it worked out. And then Creed 1 happened, and then Creed 2, I said to my wife, I was like, how many more Rocky films can this dude do? He's got to be ending at some point. This could be it. I was like, maybe I'll just go, I want to go to Philly and just be an extra in a film so I could be part of it. So ended up being now, originally in Rocky Balboa, I was trying to get an audition to play his son. So then in Creed 2, I got cast as his son's stand-in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was in Creed 2 as Milo Ventimila's stand-in. So I got to be there if you saw Creed 2, it was the Canada scenes at the end. And so I got to spend the whole day with, all the shooting time with Sly, talk to him and hang out. And that was an absolute dream come true.
That must have been really exciting. How did you keep the inner kid from you separate from that? Because you don't want to. You're a working actor. You're not a fan. You're an actor. So
right, and I want to be a colleague. I don't want to be a fan at that point. Right. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Sylvester Stallone. How can you not be? But I didn't want to fan out, and there was people fanning out on him and extras, and they were getting kicked off. So I said, I got to keep this together. So I remember I was there in front watching him do his. It was funny. My call time was 7:30. So my dad always told me, if you're on time, you're late. So I get there early. I get checked in. I have breakfast, which was a great breakfast, by the way, and one of the best food layouts I've ever been on a set.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it was all really healthy, which I like. Because I hate when they do candy, because then all the sugar. So I did that, and then I went to the set, and I was watching them set up. And then I see the first AD going, no, he's not here. He's not. Yeah, I got somebody. Comes up to me and says, what's your name? I said, Lorenzo. Hey, Lorenzo, you want to play Rocky? I was like, yeah, I want to, yeah. He's like, all right, calm down. Just relax. Yeah.
Was that your only fanboy moment?
That was it. Yeah, it was the first AD, so I could get away with it.
Oh, okay.
So then I got to play Rocky and hold his props and do his whole scene where he pulls up from the taxi cab, he gets out, he bounces his ball, goes up the steps. So that was awesome. And but yeah, then they came and I just was being professional because I didn't want to be a fan. I wanted to be a colleague. And because of that, it was a good group. I was talking to the director and to Mr. Stallone and everyone. It was nice. Everyone was professional because of that.
Do you wait till they approach you to talk? I mean, is that the rule of thumb? You don't talk unless they approach you to talk?
Well, I didn't know what the rule of thumb was, so I just went with my gut and I'm just gonna, this Academy a nominated actor, I'm gonna watch him work to see how I can learn from it. And if there happens to be an opening, I'll then converse. So it's not like I'm trying to force my way into any conversations. So on set, they had the little ball. And then they were like, yeah, it's from Rocky 1, Rocky 1. So then he's with the ball, he's playing, and he's like, and then he's by himself. And I said, hey, is that the ball from Rocky 1? They said it was. He's like, no, I sold it. No, this isn't it. And then that started us chatting.
Oh, man, that must have been just absolutely just like a dream come true.
Oh my God, it was great. It was awesome. And it was funny as he was talking about his dog Butkus, how he said nature has it backwards. He said, I had a parrot that wouldn't shut up. It was so loud all the time. And he's like, parrots never die. They live like 70 years.
Yeah.
He's like, but Butkus, oh man, he was awesome. He's like, they should have had it the other way. Dogs should live 70 years and parrots should only live.
Slightly to the right, it should be cats live 70 years. And
yeah,
that's just me, of course,
But yeah, anyway, that was
and you got a credit for that.
I did. I got a credit, and my wife took my paycheck and my scripts and from the set and got it framed for me.
Man, I'm so happy to hear this. I had no idea. So that's an exciting story.
Well, and then so that was then, and then about 6 months or a year later, he has a book coming out at the book place in Beverly Hills. I always say the name wrong, but it's called Tashin, I believe. They're in Beverly Hills, and he had this big Rocky book coming out, and I, for some reason, got invited to it. So,
wow.
Yeah, so maybe because I was on Creed too, so I was there, and I bought and I got the book, and then he was obviously there too, and then I got to be as I call an organized fan.
Okay.
And I told him about my Rocky attitude. This is Rocky attitude, because my father used to say this to me all the time, Rocky attitude. And when he died, my dad died in 2015, I copywrote this phrase and put it on a shirt. And
okay.
Yeah, so then I told him about Rocky attitude, and my father used to always tell me, he was super nice. What's funny is, so they told us you can't bring cameras into this. This is for Mr. Stallone and his book. I was like, all right, no big deal to me. I just want to be in the moment. So he was there, and I saw him, and watching and all that. All his friends are there and his family. And then I got to tell him about how my dad told me, being an actor, you got to watch Rocky and pay attention to him and Mr. Stallone and use all this for your life to be successful. And he was like, oh, that's so good. He's like, well, you want to take a picture? I said, well, they told me I can't. He's like, well, it's me. Just get your camera out. Let's take a picture.
Yeah. That's pretty much the man, right?
Yeah. So that's the picture we took. So I take my camera, I take my camera out to take a picture, and right away, a security guy goes, hey, get the effing camera out. Security, throw him out of there. Now, mind you, before I took my camera out, everybody has their camera out, and they're not saying anything. But I put my camera out, and security is about to drag me out of there. But then he said, hey, I said it was okay. This is my friend from Philly. Because I told him I was in Creed 2. I was a stand-in, if you remember me. And he was kind of like, I think so. I think I remember you there,
There's to meet so many people.
Yeah, but yeah. And
but they do remember. But people don't believe this, but people, you know what? They do remember. I mean,
it was. I figured because it was a Rocky film, he might remember. But he was kind of like, he's like, I'm busy all the time, but I think I remember you there. So then so now when It's funny now. My wife jokes with me all the time. If I'm being, a crazy actor, she goes, "Oh, I know. You're his friend from Philly." Yeah,
Right, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Well, that's cool though. That's cool for that he stepped in for you. That was very.
yeah.
Hey, it's my party. I invited them to do it. So, you know,
Yeah.
take your red shirt ass back to where you're supposed to be.
That's right. They tried to throw a red shirt on me, and he said, "Hey,
And
no,
he's
no,
a
no.
red shirt himself.
He's got a Rocky shirt on." That's what he has. Yeah.
Oh, so what's next for you, Lorenzo? I mean, what are you working on now?
Right. So I have the film I was telling you that I believe it's faith based. The Girl on the Mountain, which you can follow on Instagram for updates. That's actually going to be out very, very soon. A big distributor picked it up. And so that'll be out really soon. Super excited about it. It's a beautiful film shot on it was beautifully shot. And then a film I wrote that I'm starring in called American Hun Story, which you can follow those on social media. That's American Hunt Story. I wrote that, and I'll be starring in that. That's a fantasy comedy. I play a guy who's having trouble in life, and he overcomes his troubles with a newly discovered superpower.
Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
and
okay,
yeah, yeah, and then
okay.
I
Well,
wrote a Christmas film, and I worked all through the pandemic. I had this idea for a Christmas movie, so I finished it, and now I'm working with my associates to get it sold, and of course to get me to star in it.
uh, well, yeah. I mean, you know what? Christmas movies are huge now. I mean, they're massive. They're
Oh
all year
yeah,
round too.
yeah, definitely,
Now,
and
now there's now they have. I mean, Netflix does them. Lifetime does them. Now
Hallmark,
there's
and
Hallmark, of course.
and there's
Hallmark
also Up does them.
Up does them. Yep.
Yeah,
And GAC is now doing them.
yeah, and Paramount now they're starting the Paramount Network. They're starting to do them too. So I'm pretty excited about this one I have. It's a pretty I think original idea. So I'm excited to get that sold and to be like Rocky and say, no, I got a star in it. I wrote this for me.
Have you
Yeah.
sold any of your scripts yet?
I well the my first feature I wrote, Into Tartarus. I wrote that and we got that made. We financed it, my co-producer and I. So I don't know, is that really selling it? I sort of. If we financed the film and then we got it sold to a distributor, and
Yeah.
now it's on Amazon, YouTube, Google Play, Vudu, iTunes, Tubi. So
You got paid for it, right? They paid
I,
you.
I actually what's so interesting about life is if you keep with your things, you don't give up, it'll work out even better. And what I mean by that is now I get royalty checks from movies I wrote that I did. So it's pretty awesome.
Uh, how do you? I mean, do you have to? Is that your full time job still? Do you just write full time, or do you have a 9 to 5er?
Right now it's acting and writing. I'm out there doing like most actors, looking for auditions and whatnot. And then, excuse me, writing. I do a lot of writing as well. Like I am converting a Christmas book into feature length script.
Okay.
Yeah, the author heard about me, so now I'm taking her book and turning it into a script.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you're very busy. You're very busy.
Well, I try to do what both my mom and dad told me to do is if you have a dream, just keep with it. So and two, I'm a person who maybe it's that creativeness where you feel like you got that like voices in your head. So I'm the kind of person who like I'm sitting there, I get an idea, I got to wake up, I got to go write it so I don't forget. So yeah, I got to keep at it.
Well, this is we'll stay in touch, and you have to send me some updates on this.
Absolutely. And I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is your favorite Rocky film?
I would sit there and say,
Have you seen all of them?
I've seen all through 4. I
Oh,
practice. I really have to say the first one.
you know what I'm gonna say then? So you haven't seen Rocky 6 then, Rocky Balboa?
No,
It's my favorite. You have to watch Rocky Balboa. That's the best one out of all of them.
really. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best one, yeah.
I love the first two. Honestly, it's not Rocky who I loved. I was a huge Apollo Creed fan.
Oh, he's so awesome.
Carl Weathers.
Apollo Creed. Oh my
Who was
god.
Carl Weathers fan? Uh,
Y
I never understood why he never became a household name as big as Arnold or
Or
Sylvester.
Sly. Yeah, it's
I never
funny,
understood.
about that. That's why maybe it goes back to, I mean, he's doing well now. He's working very regularly, and he was in Toy Story. If you do you
Yeah,
know, yeah, I was listening to it, and my son goes, "Daddy, is that Apollo?" So
yeah.
yeah, but maybe it's choices. It's funny. You have two actors become famous. One might make it big, one doesn't. It's a hard
Yeah.
thing. You got to really pick those.
Part of it's an unspoken problem, and and we have to be honest about that. Um,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
know after Rocky 4, he did Action Jackson,
yeah.
which I didn't think was a bad movie. It's not my favorite, but it's
No, not my
entertaining.
favorite.
Yeah.
It had a good premise, but it wasn't all that well made.
No, it wasn't. And maybe, I guess, maybe that's the lesson. You gotta, maybe, I don't know, do those films that do better, I guess. But how do you know beforehand sometimes,
Um, well, the thing is, though, he didn't get very much of a chance either. It's like
You
you know,
didn't.
after you do Action Jackson, it didn't do all that. So all of a sudden, now he's going to get a
Yeah.
movie, get another shot.
Yeah. Today now, it'd be
yeah,
different. Today he would get tons of shots.
yeah. You go like I said, you go back to watching, if you watch Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester, they both made like The Specialist. The Specialist was a garbage movie. I watched Aston Jackson 100 times over The Specialist.
Yeah, and
Uh,
he overcame that, and it was all good.
like Bruce Willis overcame Hudson Hawk.
Oh my
No one
god.
looked at Hudson Hawk. No one looked at it and said that, well, we're not going to give him any more shots. It was a different time, but yeah,
Yeah.
I was a huge Creed fan, a huge Apollo Creed fan.
Yeah.
So, and I was, and I give nothing but respect to Sylvester Stallone. I thought the ending of Rocky 3 when they had the freeze frame, and someone asked him, says, "Well, who won that fight?" And he goes, "Apollo, of course." And it was like, dude, how? I mean, damn, how could you not love Sylvester Stallone for just saying that? You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah. Well, I like that whole idea where it's just like Apollo just needed to hit him really hard a couple more times. He just
Yeah,
said, I just need to hit you really hard so I can feel better.
yeah. It was just a really generous moment from an actor because he knows not only did he love the character, but he also has nothing but respect for Carl Weathers for him to go out there and say, "Oh, Apollo," and the way he said it, it
Yeah.
wasn't like, well, it was like right away. It was like, Apollo, of course. Why are you even asking? It was like
Yeah.
it was an amazing, and that always stuck with me. That's probably actually my singular favorite Rocky moment is when someone asked Sly about that. I just thought it was a very generous and a kind thing to say. You
I
know,
like that. That's
um,
good. I like
yeah.
that.
Rocky 3 is, I think Rocky 3 could have been done a little better, but I like the friendship. I like the montage where
Oh
they're
yeah.
running. He's
Well, and
trying
I
to
like the
help
whole
him.
concept that, Rocky's, he thought his shit didn't stink anymore and he didn't have to do anything. So he needed Apollo to shape him up and teach him something new.
Yeah, you're right. Spooky, gonna fly now. Yeah, the music in all the Rocky movies.
Oh,
The, yeah, it's really fun music.
it's funny. A funny Rocky story is in 2001, I'm working for this film company. This film called American Friends and Lovers never came out. They lost money. They couldn't finish it. But I was their PA delivering stuff basically. So they said, I need you to deliver something to the editor. I was like, all right. He's like, you're going to knock on the door and then just go in. All right. So I knocked on the door, go in, giving him, and he's got his whole editing room set up in his office. And I look over and he has an Academy Award for editing for Rocky.
Oh wow.
I said, did you edit Rocky? he's like, well, he's like, funny story about that. He goes, yes, I did. That's why I have the Academy Award. He's like, but I was brought in at the end. And I was brought in, like, I did like 1 or 2 scenes only. And they didn't want me to get an Oscar because they said I didn't do the whole thing. So the studio gave me trouble, but I still got it. I was like, wow. I was like, can I pick it up? He's like, yeah. So I picked it up. Yeah.
Pretty heavy, huh?
It is heavy. Yes, it is very. You wouldn't think, but it was really heavy. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, you lived quite a charmed life for your favorite movie and your actor. I mean,
Yeah, I think so. And then to get to work with him and meet him, I mean, that's, my dad always.
You're his friend from Philly now.
I mean, you don't call me Lorenzo. You call me friend from Philly.
Yeah.
Right, Patrick? Yeah.
That's right. I'm gonna redo this when I
just
redo this. This actor writer Lorenzo Leonard. I'm gonna sit there and say friend from Philly.
That's right. Yeah.
Listen, I want to thank you, Lorenzo, very much for coming out. I will do this. If there's anybody in the chat that would like to ask Lorenzo some questions, we'll take a few questions and let him answer them. So if you have any questions for Lorenzo, please start submitting them.
No, thank you, Patrick, for having me here. It's been awesome, and check out my films on streaming service. Let me know what you think. Leave us a good review.
Have any of your films been physically released?
At like theaters?
Or home market?
Into Tartarus is it was released to streaming services. By the time I started writing, everything was streaming services at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a physical media guy myself. I don't have any streaming services. Well, I guess unless you call this a streaming service, I don't watch on streaming too much. But if you have a screener of it, you can email it to me. I'll take a look at it for sure.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
I'm old. I'm old. I mean, I could be Rocky's, great granddad's friend or something like that. Yeah, Sly's friend from Philly.
That's right. Yeah.
That's how we're gonna retitle this. That's how we're gonna retitle this interview.
I like
Lorenzo Leonard, Sly's friend from Philly.
So it has a ring to it. It really does.
No, it's going to be Lorenzo Leonard because you stand on your own.
That's right. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions for anybody? Did you get the chance to meet Michael Jordan on
Michael? I was on the Canada set, so Michael. It was just Milo Ventimiglia and Sly. Both were super nice. When I first walked in, Milo came right up to me, gave me a very nice handshake, was super polite. And it was funny because at the end of it, we're done filming and everything's done. We're outside and I'm like, oh my God, this was awesome. Sly comes up to me and he goes, hey, so do you got time to go get coffee? Oh.
Wow.
Whoa, do you look like Milo? You really do look a lot like him. Hey, Milo, do you want to go get coffee? And Milo's like, let's see, I got to do this and this and this. And I'm like,
I'll go get coffee.
I got time. So he's like, see you later. And I was just like,
you just stepped up there and said, yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah. Well, it was so fast. It was kind of like, wow, you really do look like Milo. Milo, you want to get coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go. Yeah. It was like, what happened here? I was getting coffee and then I was.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm actually watching right now. I'm actually watching the first season of Heroes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right,
yeah, Milo.
It's right on my DVD player. I'm watching it right now.
Nice. Okay.
Man, talk about it. Some 6 degrees of separation right here.
That is. It was fate.
Let's see. Thoughts on the movie Grudge Match.
I thought it was I was entertained, but it was weird. I think where maybe audiences got confused is that it was a boxing film. And I think Sly should only stick to Rocky with boxing because he's so well known. So I think that's what was kind of weird about it for me.
I mean, two of the most iconic screen fighters.
Right, and now it was I was entertained, but I was just always thinking, man, he's not Rocky, but yet he's boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's for me. I thought was odd that maybe he, should have done something else. I think besides a boxing film for them.
I thought it was a little bit gimmicky. It was like we're gonna put Rocky against
Yeah,
against Jake. It's
yeah,
like,
Raging Bull versus
yeah,
Rocky. Yeah, I think that's where because I think if they would have done any other film together, it would have been uber successful. I think that whole thing was confusing for audiences. They couldn't get out of their mind that Jake LaMotte and Rocky Balboa.
right. They still look good though.
Oh my God, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
Sly's ripped up, and I know De Niro's in good shape. He's not as ripped, but the guy can do like 100 pull-ups, I think.
Yeah, he's yeah. It's good to see them both still cracking along.
Yeah, really, it is. It's inspiring.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Timothy's asking, what's the next project you're working on? And that would be the Girl in the Mountain.
Yeah, the girl in the mountain and American Hun Story both have Instagram accounts, and they're you can follow them. And both those films will be out very, very soon.
Let's see. Yep. And Renee, thank you for dropping the link to his channel. Listen, I'm going to thank you for coming out and hanging out with us, hanging out with the chat. Thank you, chat, for hanging out with us and meeting Lorenzo. This has been one of the most fun interviews we've done. And of course, thanks, Steven, and thank you for helping me put this together last minute. Like I said, I hope you and Chuck are doing well. I'll be checking with them. I'll be checking on them too, see how they're doing. To all the new people who showed up for the chat, the Rocky Files and Timothy, thank you so much. And Spooky Kids,
thank you
so much for showing up and supporting the interview process. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you. Hopefully, we'll see some of you tomorrow. We have Eileen Isley will be here tomorrow, 8 p.m. And she is she created Duke the Crazy Ass Unicorn for the Carousel series. That's an awesome. It's a horror comedy series. It's bonkers. And Eileen is going to be here tomorrow to talk about it and talk about Carousel 2, the second. And that will be at 8 p.m. tomorrow. And then Saturday at 8 p.m. we have actor producer Leo Oliva from Home Invasion, The Last Ship, and The Shift. He'll be here at 8 p.m. I want to thank everybody for showing up, and we see you then. Stay right where you're at, Lorenzo.
Patrick, you're the best. Thank you so much, sir, for this time. You're awesome.
We'll see you guys soon. Peace.